I like to start, call the meeting to order on time, um, so I'll go ahead and call today's Board of Adjustment meeting to order, and we'll start off with some just opening comments. One of those being that I'd like to recognize the passing of Mr. Perry Elliott, who was a former chair of the Board of Adjustment. And he was the only other chair that I've actually served with. After he stepped down, then I was elected, and I've been having the privilege of being the chair since. But he was a long time and dedicated servant to Stephenville, and I thought he was marvelous as the chair of the Board of Adjustment. Let me just give you one personal story about him. When I first began serving as an alternate, I think I got to one of the meetings at about 4:01 and a half, and we were already finished. That's how efficient Perry Elliott was. So I never was ever late again to a meeting, even by a second. And as chair, I've tried to maintain that tradition of, like, when the meeting starts if it's supposed to start at 4, we start at 4, and we can zip through the proceedings in an efficient but competent manner. So anyway, just wanted to recognize Mr. Perry Elliott and his service.
Well, I didn't know Mr. Elliott. He apparently taught you well.
Thank you.
So-
Yeah.
Sorry to hear about his passing.
I'd also like to thank the members of the Board of Adjustment for their service who are stepping down or who have finished their term. And so we're excited to be able to swear in, there we go, some new members. And I'm not so sure that, I think Steve was going to tell us who those people were. Maybe it was Adam Cash, Daryl Brown. I don't know that Janet needs to be re-sworn in, but if that's necessary, she's here.
Jeanette.
And then
I'm Jeanette.
Jeanette, yeah, and David Baskett, who has joined us via Zoom. And so, Steve, how do we want to handle that? Is Stacy gonna?
I have Miss Stacy King here, and she's going to be able to take care of that.
Wonderful. Okay.
Looks like it's going to be virtually. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Well, we've got one virtual and one in person, so congratulations, y'all are my first virtual oath of office. So we're going to try this with you two swearing at the same time, and hopefully it won't get too crazy with the slight delay. So Jeanette and David, if y'all will raise your right hands and repeat after me, please. I state your name,
I, Jeanette Cochran,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office,
board member of the Board of Adjustment,
board member of Board of Adjustments,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right, thank you.
Wonderful. I really like that part about preserving, defending, and the Constitution.
That's my favorite part, too.
That's a good one. All right. So we've administered the oath of office to at least 2 of the new Board of Adjustment members, or continuing. So now I'd like to consider the approval of the minutes for December 10, 2020. There was, I think, a minor spelling correction already noted. So I think that's been fixed already. So were there any other notes that needed to be?
Did we not already do?
Yeah, the minutes were included in the packet, and
Yeah.
I mean, really, Janet and Jeanette and I are the only ones who would have known if they were accurate. But do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I move that we approve them as written.
I second.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Jeanette. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign? All right, so I'll sign those, Stacy, after the meeting. Okay. And now we'll open up the public hearing. First, we'll hear public hearing case number SV 2021-0-001. And the applicants, Eric and Jamie Hayden, are here requesting a subdivision waiver. So, Steve, would you please introduce that to us?
Yes, sir. Before I begin, may I verify with Mr. Board Member Basket that he did get the link for the packet? Sir, are you able to open the link now?
Yes, we can't hear Steve.
Steve,
Oh.
you'll have to go to the podium, 'cause it took all night.
Or I can hand you this handheld if you want.
What he asked is, did David and Janet, did you get the packet? Could you open it up? Okay,
Okay, very good.
beautiful.
All right, applicants Eric and Jamie Hayden are requesting a subdivision waiver for 154.055 to be constructed at the parcel 74232, which is Lot 1, Block G of the Lakewood Estates of the City of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. This property is also known as 932 and 934 Sundown. Basically, what the Haydens are requesting is a 9-foot reduction on the north setback and a 1-foot reduction on the south setback of this property.
A 1-foot reduction.
That is correct. It's 2 foot.
Okay, that's,
For a, however, there's a single-family reference and a two-family reference. And for this particular side setback, it's actually just a 1. And now let me get down to the right part here. The side setback for a two-family is not a 7-foot setback as we had in the application. It's actually a 6-foot. So to drop it down to 5, as you requested, it would just be a 1-foot setback variance.
thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
Also, in the packet, I noticed that the original request was for a 9-foot side setback reduction, but then in the typed written, it said 25 foot to 9 foot, but it really
Yes,
was
sir.
supposed to be
That-
25 foot to 16.
It's actually a 9-foot reduction from 25 feet on the north side down to 16 feet.
That's,
16 feet on the north side, and then again on the south side, it'll be a 5-foot setback if the variance is approved.
okay, thank you so much.
So overall, the lot dimensions are 85 by 110 foot according to our GIS data. And with these variances, that would drop basically we're removing 10 feet or adding 10 feet from what currently exists. And the purpose behind this is so that they will have a larger footprint availability to develop on that lot. They are requesting to do a two-family structure. And if we look at the requirements of a two-family structure, they can certainly meet all of the setback requirements front and back. And then with the variance, certainly gives them more room. We did talk to the Public Works Director. He has no objection to granting the variance. We do have a water line cutting through that property with this easement, but the 16-foot would allow Public Works adequate room to work. With that statement from our Public Works Director and the fact that they are building a structure that would complement the area and adjacent structures, we have no objection to this request.
Okay, very good.
With
Thank
that,
you.
answer any questions. Thank you.
Yes, all right, thank you. Why don't I now invite Eric and Jamie Hayden up to the microphone, if you would, if you wish to, and you can kind of like request in your own words what your goals are, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, without going there in person, if you look at it from the front of the lot, it's gonna look very odd because it's gonna be like smashed up against the house next door. And on top of that, and even with this reduction, I mean, we can't guarantee that we could do a one-story, but we would like to attempt to get a plan for a one-story instead of a two, because everything else there is a one-story. So, we'll have a better shot at getting that accomplished if we're able to get the extension of, or the expansion or the,
Can I ask a question?
okay?
Jamie, is the 110 feet deep and 85 foot wide, is that how it is? Or 110 wide and 85 feet?
It's 85 foot wide, and I guess, so on the plat, it shows 105 foot deep, but, you know,
Okay.
their GIS showed differently, so.
Gotcha.
I have a question for Steve.
Yes, sir.
David, yeah?
Steve, I know in years past, when I was on Board of Justice before, I think we've approved some of these in this area. Is that right? There's some setbacks in Lakewood that we have approved?
Yes, sir. I believe the properties to the south of this parcel have indeed received some variance setback approvals from the board in the past. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's common for the area.
Yes, sir. And for the zone,
It's common for that particular law.
yes, sir. Again, I believe what they are proposing does complement some of the adjacent properties and fits well with the area. In the packet, you also have some maps of the property, which show we have their application, and then, of course, we have an aerial of where this property lies. You can see the easement that cuts across the property, and that's where they're wanting the 9-foot reduction on the north side of the property. And then again, it's actually just a 1-foot reduction on the south side. So with the dimensions of this lot, it does allow them a better opportunity to build something in the area. So thought I had, let's see. This is a good picture here that shows the water line that's cutting across on the property. But with the setback, we still have ample room. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Eric and Jamie Hayden? And it's hard to tell, but are there any members of the community here who are speaking for or against this request or addressing it? Okay, then I think we can go ahead and close the public hearing. The board has three choices on this: to approve the variance request, to approve the variance request with modifications, or deny the variance request. Do I hear a motion?
I motion we approve the request as presented.
I second.
All right, thank you, David and Jeanette. Any discussion? Well, since the four of us are required for an official vote that would actually count, I'm going to vote on this too, as opposed to just chair and listen to the other votes. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. All right, so that variance request has been approved. Thank you. All right, Steve, our next case is SV 2021-002. Would you like to introduce that to us, please?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Applicant Bo Mayo is requesting a subdivision waiver from 154.06.3.d for a project being constructed at parcel 29531, lot 4A, block 56 of city addition to the city of Stephenville, Erath, Texas, Erath County, Texas. The property is also known as 314 Floral. Mr. Mayo is requesting a variance in relation to the width of the overall lot size requirements for a two-family structure in a B3 zone district. The dimensions for this lot are 50 foot by 110 foot based on GIS data. Therefore, the applicant's request, if granted, will result in a variance of an approximately 25-foot reduction on the width requirement and an overall reduction in the minimum lot size by 2,000 square feet. with B3 zoning, you can have as a permitted use a single-family structure and a two-family structure, 2 to 4 family structure. Even though the property is zoned as B3, with the current dimensions, we couldn't allow the construction of a structure in that permitted use without a variance. And so consequently, we would support this request for the reduction. As we move through the staff report, you see on permitted use number 45, it is a permitted use as a 2 to 4 family dwelling. And if we continue to scroll through the staff report, a 2-family dwelling requires a 7,500 square foot minimum lot area and a minimum of 75-foot frontage. So that's the point I was alluding to earlier with the B3 zoning. That would be improper zoning for a 2 to 4 family structure, even though it's permitted use. As we work through the document further, maximum coverage for this lot would be 40%. So if we granted the variance, that would allow for the maximum square footage of this building to be 2,200 square feet, which would meet the minimum square footage for a 2 to 4 family dwelling, which is 1,600 square feet for both units combined. Proceeding through, the parking regulations would require 2 parking spaces, off-street parking, which would have to be included in the lot dimensions itself with the variance, based on the footprint of the project that Mr. Mayo is presenting. And then lastly, we have the application, of course, from Mr. Mayo. He's the owner of the property. We have an aerial of the property. To the north of this is a PD, which has been the construction of some townhomes. And those have done very well in the area. I believe they have completely sold all of the units at this time. And so this has been a very, very popular housing project, and demand in that area has been very apparent. And as we look at the B3 zoning, as I mentioned, that is the current zoning, and the future zoning would be central business. Again, I think with the designation of B3 and the permitted use, that it makes, we fully support the request and ask for your consideration. Any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
So future zoning changes wouldn't be required?
With we have a PD just north of here that's just finishing up construction. So for future land use to think we're going to convert back to a B3 district and not have residential, I think is really not realistic at this point.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Steve before we open up the public hearing? All right, well, Bo Mayo is here, and if you'd like to just speak to your request, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, basically, I can meet all the requirements besides the lot size and the lot width. So I can meet all the setbacks. The footprint will be only about 25%, which the maximum is 40%. I can meet the parking requirements. Basically, what I'm asking to do is what they've done to the north of there is they built duplexes on 25-foot lots, and so I would have enough for one 2-unit building on my place. So, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Board?
I don't have any.
All right, thank you very much.
I appreciate what you've done to the community. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You too, Eric and Jamie.
Yeah.
All y'all.
Again, it's hard to tell because maybe there's someone on Zoom. I see another phone number there, but is anyone from the community here to speak to or against this request? All right. Well, I'll close the public hearing then, and again, we have 3 choices on this as a board: to approve the variance, with modifications, or to deny the variance request. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the request as written.
Do I hear a second?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Janet. All right, any discussion? I just, I let you know, I was a little concerned when I saw just the drama of the reduction, you know, in terms of overall square footage. But after having done a little homework, I can tell that it's this or what, you know. So I appreciate that, you know, you're trying to make some, you know, some positive changes here on this, and so we. It looks like it, you know, it is supported by the city, and so it's not just one person who thinks it's a good idea. I think a lot of people will think that too. So, any other discussion on this motion?
Well, I want to throw in also that I want to thank all of you too for going to Steve and talking with the city and figuring out how best to utilize the land that we've got here in town and making it, developing it so that it's beneficial for more people now and in the future.
Yeah, well said. All right. All in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed, say the same sign. All right, it's unanimous. So congratulations to all of you. And so that ends the public hearing and all our business for today. Do I hear a move to adjourn? All right. It's unanimous. It's by acclamation. All right, we'll see you
Let's
in
get home before this weather
we'll see you
moves
in
in.
March. Be safe, stay warm, and take care. Thank you. You're welcome.